All right, guys.
Most of them are true.
Right?
Yeah. You still got both locations of Hippie Hut? Or you got 3 now?
No, just the one here in Short North.
Okay, cool. Oh, no. There wasn't. Am I crazy? Was there one in Circleville before?
Yes. And I moved it up here.
Smart man. But,
get away from around town.
So, yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Maybe if you guys could really quickly, just for everyone who's watching, introduce yourself, 1 minute, just who you are, and maybe what your podcast is going to be about in case they're interested.
Sure, yeah. My name's John Mills. Mike and I go way back. Way back. Yeah, so we, my friend Scott and I are interested in starting a podcast. Really don't have a set, topic structure. Probably going to avoid politics.
I would encourage that.
Yeah, right. But just whatever kind of, we're thinking about that day. We talk pretty much at least once a day. We figured why not? We crack each other up, so put it together in a podcast format and maybe offer that to other people. But yeah, so Scott and I'll let him talk about himself too, but we're both musicians, both fans of comedy, fans of art. So it seemed natural to just get together and start something up. Maybe try and focus on some local issues, focus on local business, things like that.
So kind of just whatever you guys feel like talking about, whether it's current events or just stuff popping in your head.
Yeah, the issue with the way that Scott and I communicate is usually we could start off with a topic, but usually we start cracking jokes and next thing you know, we're spiraled down some other topic. But really just trying to put some sort of fun content out there, something that people can enjoy, maybe make them laugh a little bit and have fun while we're doing it.
Nice, man. And you guys said you want to do video and audio, which pretty much, limits the platforms that you guys are using.
Yeah, that's our plan initially. I don't know if that's something we're going to stick to. We would like to do a video element, but if we encounter issues with, like you said, the availability to get that package out there, then maybe we'll just do audio. I don't know. Yep. We're new to it, man.
Yeah. If you're just doing audio, Anchor seems like the go-to for starters. I think you can put your stuff on Spotify, but it all runs through Anchor and CHOR. I think that's the easiest way to get in. I'm 99% sure it's free, and their thing is that they can monetize stuff for you. So once you guys get an audience, I know that's probably not your goals right away, but it's really easy that let's say you guys build an audience, Anchor makes it super easy to just monetize it. So that's where I would start if you guys are just doing audio. Obviously, if you're doing audio and video, YouTube's pretty much the way to go. With them, once you get to 1,000 subscribers, that's when you can start monetizing. But yeah, man, what do you have questions about how to get stuff online or setup or what?
Well, I guess it's probably worth giving some background as to why we're doing this today. So when Scott and I initially talked about doing the podcast, we realized we're both fairly educated with equipment, not so much concerned with mics and things like that, but really the signal chain, I guess, from actually doing the podcast and then editing, presenting that online. I understand there's business aspects of it. We probably need to form an LLC, I'm assuming. So that's probably where a lot of our questions are going to lie. And I guess I'd begin with, as far as you had thrown out a couple suggestions for software to actually put this together, audio and video. From a beginner standpoint, is there something out there that makes it easy to capture the video and audio and edit and then present that without having to be a computer programmer?
Yeah. Scott, I don't know if you want to turn your audio down a little bit. I think Mills's voice is coming through on your mic as well.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Wow.
No, yeah, that too. Let's be honest. So software to get in. So I'd say the beginning software is Zoom, right? You guys don't even have to. If you want to be in the same room, great. If not, you guys can just do it from your houses. And Zoom has a record feature. You hit the record. You do your podcast. That'll give you an MP4 file. You upload it to YouTube. Literally the easiest way you could do it. Outside of just live streaming to YouTube from your phone, which is an option. Set the phone on a tripod. You guys either have your phone or a nice camera. Get the audio and then upload to YouTube. If you want to do something where it's live, I highly recommend Streamlabs OBS. There's also OBS Studio. OBS Studio is They both do the same thing. Streamlabs OBS is a lot more user-friendly, so think like more Apple-based, and not that Apple has anything to do with it, but just think like, that level of, user friendliness. And then OBS Studio has all the functions, but it's more of like you have to really dig deep to know where everything is, but it's a lot more customizable. So Streamlabs OBS is what I use and recommend. That would be if you guys want to really produce a show. So, you want to have graphics coming through, you want to have a chat box, images, you guys, let's say you guys introduce a guest on the show, you want to like have the guest name pop up. That's like Streamlabs OBS. So I think that's like it. You either do like a Zoom, super easy, this is the content, and then we're throwing it up there. If you want to edit it, Final Cut is on the Mac side. There's a great program called Resolve, DaVinci Resolve, that's free, that I've been using on my PC lately. I still prefer Final Cut because Final Cut renders while you work, right? So if I want to go in and edit, I don't have to render everything and then go and edit. I can just chop, and Final Cut does a good job at that, but Resolve is free and really, really, really good.
In your experience, as far as uploading that onto a platform, are those both pretty easy to operate, I guess?
I mean, okay, YouTube's entire goal is to make it easy for you to put up content. Keep, you invite your friends to watch the video, that brings them to the platform. They put an ad up. That's how they make money, right? So they're going to make it as easy as possible for you, not only to put stuff up, but also to promote it. I'd say the steps for YouTube are talk to a graphic designer about a logo. I mean, you guys have done that before with that other stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of make, focus maybe like one entire day just on, if someone were to come on to the John and Scott podcast, what it looks like, making sure, like all the links work, keeping the attention on you guys. So if I'm someone who's on YouTube, I find you both, well, how do I know when you guys are going to do this again? Well, I can subscribe, or I can go to your Twitter page. I think it's worth it to have like a specific podcast Twitter, so that people have another way to find you both.
Right.
Let me ask you, Mike, for your podcast, which I enjoy, by the way.
Thanks, man.
What have you seen as far as results? The most interaction with subscribers, users, is YouTube kind of more successful for you, or?
Yeah. I actually just left Twitch. I'm gonna do gaming on Twitch, and then all my music stuff on YouTube. YouTube's a lot easier it's more searchable, right? Twitch is very much like, there's this game I like, or there's this streamer I like, and that's where I'm gonna go. YouTube, it's more like, there's this activity or hobby I like, I'm gonna search everything about that. Because I'm searching music and comedy, now I find the John and Scott podcast, right? So I love YouTube just because it's really, really searchable.
Now, when you say you're doing gaming on Twitch, are you still, not to derail the conversation?
Yeah.
But are you still noob-tubing it?
Noob-tubing all day, baby. Yeah,
all
they just
day.
came out. You'll love it, man. They came out with a new Zombies Call of Duty, man. It's really well done. I don't know if you remember Adam and I playing that stuff.
Yeah.
It was good.
The MCAK?
The MCAK, man. Still doing it. We were just playing before this.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's worth mentioning, Scott and I have a third guy that we're going to be kind of working with on the podcast. And I don't know that he's necessarily as interested in being a personality on it, but he's very knowledgeable with computers, and that's not that we're not, but he's a step above us.
Sure.
So he's been researching some things too, but that's good input for those programs. As far as the editing of the audio and processing of it too, is that something that those applications allow you to do?
Yes, absolutely. Each application does it, a little better, a little worse than the other, but they all have like a noise gate, noise suppression, compression, and that's really all I use. Compression / limiter, whatever. I don't think there's anything else. I would recommend trying to get because it's just you both, right? Like, you guys might have guests sometimes, but most times it's be just,
right. Sure.
You guys have the mics, you guys have the equipment, just grab, I would spend 10 minutes in the beginning to make sure the mixing and the audio sounds good going out. That way you don't have to spend an hour afterwards, cutting up stuff in post.
Yeah, we already talked about making sure the everything's kind of aligned, so we're not doing a lot of post editing. I hate post editing.
Yeah, man. That's where the change I just made, where I instead of adding all the graphics in after the fact. I just hit a button and it does it on the screen like live. So that's been really helpful.
Right on, man. Something that I did want to ask you, since this is like a beginner's podcast, if you could go back and talk to Mike Salone when he was getting started with this, is there any advice as far as things you thought were important that ended up not being that crucial to the process, and then vice versa, things you really weren't paying attention to that now you realize you should have been on since the beginning?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a third one in there. The number one thing, and you've already heard it, but you may not understand, is consistency. Don't plan on starting a podcast if you're only like gonna give it like 6 months. You should really give it at minimum a year to build, because well, A, that's how the algorithm works, and B, you just got to give yourself time to, even if you're a solid podcaster starting out, you're going to be even better after a year. The production's going to change, the content's going to get better, all that. So give yourself the time to build an audience, and just the way you do that is through consistency. That's what YouTube wants, that's what your audience wants, etc. Things that I thought were important and weren't, I'd say are I thought were important and weren't.
Maybe not important isn't the right word, but stuff that you were maybe hyper focused on that ended up not being as big a piece of the puzzle as you thought it would be. Did I stump you, bro?
Yeah, a little bit, man. Because how I work, dude. I research, I'm 10 hours of research before I even start a process. So I had a good idea. I would just say that getting it in front of other people. So don't rely just on YouTube to build your audience. Try and build your audience with what you already have on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It wasn't something that I overlooked, but it's something I'm still not great at, just because I have two separate audiences, right? I have my music audience and I have my gaming audience, and I don't want to be I have my DJ audience, which is just DJs. That's who's watching the podcast. And then I also have my regular audience, which is my friends, people who just want to support me. So just trying to bring both of them in with other social media platforms is helpful. One thing that is important that I want to stress is lighting. If you guys are doing video, lighting is everything. You can have a shitty $100 camera and buy $150 worth of lights and make it look like a $500 camera, right? So if you are doing video, lighting's important. If you're doing audio, just invest a little bit in the mics or whatever's receiving the mic audio. Yeah, John, you stumped me a little bit with that one, man. I should have seen that one coming.
All right. Well, I do my best. I did say I wasn't going to try to go too far into specifics with tech, but one question I do have, as far as your video setup, are you using GoPros? Is there a type of camera we should look into specifically? That's, like I said, we're interested in like the beginner to intermediate level stuff starting off. So if it takes off, we'll invest money. But
yep, I would say if I was starting a video podcast, the number one thing I would buy is the Logitech C920. It's the go-to introductory / mid-level webcam. It works on everything. It's super easy. You want to get this program called Logitech G Hub. That'll let you, it's free. That'll let you go into your camera settings and figure out, exposure, focus, and maybe the quality. That's number one. Number two, you want to get like a ring light from Neewer, Neewer, I think is how they spell it. Any other like ring lights, whatever works for your space. It could be 5 inches, 10 inch, 15 inch, whatever you think you'll need. But that'll make it really easy to do your lighting. And then a quality microphone. And was it like what did you need first? There's Samson does the Q2U. That's what I'm using right here, and it's $60, and I feel like it sounds pretty good. If you like what this audio sounds like, again, it's the Samson Q2U, $60. There might be a little bit of delay because that's what everyone's getting right now. But that's those. If you got those three things and a laptop, you're ready to go with your podcast.
Right on. As far as your video editing. Is that something you handle yourself?
Yes, you can outsource it. So there's websites like Fiverr or oh man, there's one that's a little bit nicer than Fiverr that I can't remember, but just like search like gig stuff or editing gigs on Google, and you'll find the right place. And you can find people. I was using a guy in India for a couple episodes, and
were you happy with the product?
No, I'll be honest, I wasn't. I feel like if I would have searched around a little bit more, I would have. He's good at the editing part. He just didn't understand the creative direction. So, and that was go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say, yeah, I could see where that having someone else do your editing, they're not going to capture what you're going to capture.
Sure. And really, guys, I only think you'll be editing the first month, maybe 2 months. Once you get into the groove of like, okay, I got my little, and this is something I would recommend, like your pre-podcast startup checklist. Maybe you have some podcast notes, like, okay, you guys are going to be more free flowing than I would be, right? But at least like you have something that says like we want to talk about. This current event and this thing that happened in music, and this comedian brought up this really funny point, so we're gonna hit that. So, and you'll have a bunch of topics in between the way you guys are, but at least having that amount of structure and so you don't have those what are we gonna talk about next moments. You can just kind of glance at the other screen or your notes and say, oh yeah, we wanted to talk about this. So and the more, like I said, 2 months in, I highly doubt you guys will be doing more than an hour of editing per episode. Highly doubt it.
Good deal. As far as the actual file of your podcast, as far as backing up, double checking to make sure you're not losing any of this, is there are you using the cloud for storage, or how are you handling that?
I trust YouTube to do it once it's done. I delete everything, and you can download your videos from YouTube. So as long as YouTube and Google are doing all right, I don't see those two companies fucking around anytime soon.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, right. So you can always download it from YouTube. But if you're talking about in like the meantime, let's say you're doing the podcast through Zoom, and then you're maybe you want to use Streamlabs to do a second recording. So you have Zoom that's actually hosting the meeting, and then you have Streamlabs that maybe has a couple graphics, your guys' logo, and then that's what goes out. You can hit record on both of those. So let's say Streamlabs goes out, you have your Zoom background, you have your Zoom video and audio, and maybe you can just add the stuff on later. And then if your Zoom for some reason goes out, obviously you have to get that back up, but you have, if the recording fucks up, you got Streamlabs, which is just going to have a blank space you can edit out and post.
Right. No, that's good info. One of the things I did want to make sure I asked you, drive this away from tech for a minute for the people that are bored to death.
It's not, I'm sure it's helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things we were curious about is, have you received any pushback from these platforms content-wise? I know obviously you're not doing an edgy, deal, but we were thinking there's chances that we might run into a topic that triggers somebody.
Sure.
Have you heard from any of your buddies that are doing it, or your experiences yourself where they push back on content?
No, actually, YouTube does a nice job of this. So, you could always warn your users. That's, at the beginning of the video, like, hey, the John and Scott podcast talks about, sensitive issues. If you're sensitive to sensitive content, like, turn away now, whatever. And then YouTube on the back end will say, hey, is this content made for kids? Is there light, medium, or heavy profanity? Do you talk about any of these sensitive topics? And you can check mark them down. So YouTube will kind of do that for you. Okay. The further you go down on the profanity scale, the less likely you are to get monetized. People aren't going to show ads on your video. However, there are other ways to monetize, right? Scott, you could, let's say, you wanted to use this platform and promote the Hippie Hut, right? So the Hippie Hut could potentially sponsor you guys' podcast and pay you guys, $100 a month, and you guys do a commercial at the beginning of the episode and a commercial at the end of the episode for the Hippie Hut. Or Scott, let's say you have some what do you call them? The distributors, the guys who come to you and say, hey, I have this product, I want it to go in the Hippie Hut. Yeah. Yep. Hey guys, we have this podcast, we have 100 viewers a month. Is there any products you want us to feature that they can come pick up at the Hippie Hut? Yeah. Throw this on. We've been working on this product. We're testing this out. Blah blah blah. So you don't have to worry about YouTube 100% to monetize or to get. To bring in other business to your podcast. You can just reach out to people directly, show them your numbers, maybe have a nice episode that would work with their brand and say, hey, here's what we do. You guys want to be a sponsor on the podcast?
Right on. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Mike, because I wanted to mention Smart Water.
Oh, here we
The
go.
smartest water for your podcast. Get yours today.
Use the link in the bio.
Right.
Use code access.
So do you recommend going with all the different platforms for social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so on, to promote?
Depends, man. I would say don't go on any platforms that you're not going to spend time in. So I don't know whether it's like, John manages Facebook and you manage Twitter, and that's, that covers pretty much most of the social media player base. Instagram is, it's not dead, but the people are on the way out. I don't see a very much need for Just kind of think about for 5 seconds what each platform, what the audience on each platform is, how you interact with that platform, and figure out like whether you need it for the podcast. If you guys are on YouTube and Twitter, I think that's enough. And then I guess next would be Facebook. Just because Twitter allows you to post links, it's going to show your video thumbnail. Oh, that is the answer to the question. If you guys are doing a video podcast, the most important thing that I overlook was the importance of a thumbnail. It's worth watching half an hour of YouTube videos. You'll watch like 3 videos in that time on what makes a thumbnail pop out. Because with you guys, most of your audience is probably going to come from people knowing you and then finding it. But you want to have some way for people to search you out. And the thumbnail is actually the most important thing to how your video... The thumbnail and the tags is the most important thing for people to click and then actually watch your content. So
explain to me the thumbnail.
Sure. So your thumbnail, let's say I'm searching comedy podcasts, right?
Right.
I'm going to see Joe Rogan. I'm going to see a couple other guys. And then maybe halfway down the page, I might see Scott and John. And you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, why is, Joe Schmo from Iowa want to click on that? What's in it? So first thing they're going to see is that thumbnail. Without even seeing John and Scott, before seeing the description, before seeing anything, they're going to see that thumbnail. So I think it's in your best interest to make sure that you spend some time on it, look at what people do, like having it's worth maybe getting a photo shoot together, coming up with some like crazy expressions that you guys might feature on them, like laughing or like some cynical look for Mills. Just something that says, oh, these guys look interesting, let me click on that.
Right. So do you recommend a photo of both of us versus having a design artist make a thumbnail?
Either one, man.
People
Whatever
like to see pictures of the persons?
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of research that backs that if you're making a face, you want a face and a highly expressive face. You want to stroke out, stroke meaning put a white line outline of anything that's important in the video. So if I'm making, your guys' thing, it might be John with a serious face and Scott with like a really expressive face, and then I'm gonna go in and stroke that in white, and then I'm gonna make you guys more saturated, and I'm gonna have a background that is interesting but doesn't distract from your guys' faces, because you guys are the rock stars.
Yes,
half an hour on YouTube, just searching like how to make a good thumbnail, and you guys will be fine. And you can do that for free. They have this website called Photopea, Photopea, and that's basically the free version of Photoshop. I've been a Photoshop user forever, and I don't have it on my PC, but Photopea gets me through like 99% of the things that I would do in Photoshop. It's amazing how similar it is.
So in one of your previous podcasts, Mike, you were talking about the importance of for your or your show rather, for DJs coming on with press packs prepared.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting podcast, by the way, for anybody that is out there. Check that out. It sounds like it's equally as important for you or for us, for the people on the other side, in order to get your product out there. Is that something you've created yourself? I know you mentioned obviously the thumbnail, but it sounds like you probably outsource stuff to photographers, videographers, things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. For people who don't know, press kit is basically your online flyer, right? So back in the day, DJs, bands, they'd walk around, they pass out flyers, right? It'd have a cool image of the band, it'd have set times, blah, blah, blah. Your press kit is your flyer. And the better your press kit is, the more people won't throw your flyer away, right? They're not just going to scroll past your video. They're going to take a look at it and can actually consider whether to click on it. Like you said, John, best thing you can do is, hire a photographer friend who actually does it professionally. Throw them $50 to $200 depending on how good they are and how much you value this, and get some great photos. Come with. You can look online and see like expressions to have, right, that you might have in the podcast, and just kind of shoot. Maybe get 10 to 15 photos that you could use not only for your thumbnails, but if it's going to end up being something that's your Twitter header, your Twitter background. If you guys do other stuff, you have press photos that look really good, that make it look like you guys are a professional podcast, like you are, right?
I don't know. Oh,
and you should make it in my opinion, you should make it a PDF, and it's just something you can send in an email, which maybe, again, the Scott and John podcast, to you guys' face and expression, a short description. We do comedy, current events, and music, and you can find us. Our podcast goes up every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, something like that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Since we're keeping it local Columbus right now, you got any people you want to shout out? Anybody you use? Photographers, videographers?
Yeah. I mean, I got to shout out my girlfriend. She's at the Howard brand. She's got a slow time.
Smart. First one. Smart.
Yeah, right. So at the Howard brand, she's fantastic. Not only, she knows her end on the photography side. She's great, but she's also, lives with me, right? So she gets musicians, she gets DJs. She hears me complain about the different, all the different things on YouTube and blah, blah, blah. So she understands that. Who else would be good at this? Krista Shoots might work with you. She's a little more boutique. ChristaShoots on Instagram. And if you guys are looking for something more artistic, she's the one to go to. And who else can I shout out? I know if someone watches this and doesn't hear the name. You can John, put them. You have a network, man. You have a network of photographers and designers, and you were in Sour Blood. You got bands, Southern Comfort. Like, come on, man.
Southern Comfort, yeah. Southern Ground, dude.
Oh, Southern.
It's all
Ground.
The same. It's all the same.
Actually, let's be honest. Southern Comfort would have been better.
It was a better name, yeah.
It was already taken.
Yeah, I heard about that. My bad. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. Well, something else we had talked about doing too that I thought would be cool since we're on here is maybe we're planning on getting this kicked off pretty soon, honestly. Yeah. And we were thinking maybe in a couple months down the road doing another one of these and maybe rehashing really the topics we talked about today.
Yeah.
Kind of where we've progressed since then. Because, I do appreciate your input. I'm a fan of your podcast. Been watching it. Yeah. So I like the way you do things. That's why we wanted to reach out and at least kind of pick your brain about stuff today. Yeah,
man, I appreciate you guys reaching out. I love to help. And this right here is going to help other people, which we love. So yeah, man, I think everyone wins. That's what I'm always looking for is a project where everyone wins. And this is definitely one like that.
Right on, man. Yeah, I was going to mention too, if anybody's got any advice for us you want to post in the comments for Mike's videos, we can get in touch with you. But yeah, also don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm going to plug your show before you get to.
Click the link button.
I love it, man. Yeah.
Consummate professional, Mike. Consummate professional.
I don't even have to do my exit. We can just.
That's right, bro.
But yeah, have you guys decided on a name yet?
We do, but we're gonna keep that in our pocket for the second. Yeah.
What we'll commit to is, like you guys said, once you have a few episodes in, you feel like, oh man, we really have some advice to give to other people, or we want to talk to Mike again about stuff. We'll have you back on, and can't wait, man. Excited to. So when's the goal for the first episode? You at least tell me that. When's the goal for the first episode?
First week of March.
Beautiful. Yeah, it'll give you some time.
Yeah, and I think the plan in between then is kind of like you said, we want to do a few just for ourselves, just to see, make sure the audio sounds good, video is working before we present that. I think we're both, after this conversation, too, kind of prepared to get things going and make it work for us.
Yeah, you guys are asking the right questions. It sounds like you're on your way. When you do those practice sessions, record them, and if you guys record for 2 hours, you're gonna get some good content. Maybe the whole thing's not great, but from those first practice sessions, cut out maybe 1 minute to 3 minute clip where it's like you guys can start putting out trailers. So yeah, the first one might drop on March 1st, but maybe you have one on February 15th. You drop like the trailer, and it's like just this intro clip of what you guys might be talking about, something you guys are proud of from the conversation, and then you do it again the next week, and then you keep doing that until you're ready to drop. I think that'd be cool.
That's good advice.
Would you be cool in checking them out, like before we send them out? Have you look them over?
Yeah, man. Of course.
Cool.
And to anyone else who's watching, send me that stuff. I do ask that you post in the comments, like John said. That way, I get the engagement points, and then that's an easier way for other people to, when I respond, they get to see the answer to the question too. Because we're just like all the teachers said, right? If you have a question, 3 other students got that question too. So.
Right on.
Cool.
Well, thank you for your time, Mike, man. It's been really informative.
Dude, happy to do it. I'm getting chills right now. I see we got some viewers, so that makes me happy. Shout out to you guys. John, happy belated birthday, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. 21.
Yeah, every time.
Right?
But yeah, guys, good luck with the podcast. You don't have to stop here. Just shoot me a text if you have any questions, and I appreciate you watching the show, John.
Cool, man.
Right.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thanks, Mike.
No, I'm
Have
not
a good night.
you guys.
Peace.